Welcome back to the channel, everybody. So it's been a little while since I've done a video, so there's a lot to go over. So let's get started with it. So we're 2 weeks into the new training block right now. A lot of the exercises are still the same, but there is a few that they've added into. So first we have feet up bench. It helps train the core since you can't help balance with your feet. There's close grip incline. It gets more of the upper chest and the triceps involved in the lift. And then you have side planks. Core is important for all the lifts, so it's good to train it specifically. So this month, there's a lot more of the 3 major lifts involved. So you got 4 times squats a week, 6 times bench a week, and 5 times deadlifts a week, with a variation of each of them. So regular squat, pause squat, and pin squat, pause bench, rep bench, you got incline, and feet up bench. Then regular deadlift, a pause deadlift, and stiff leg deadlift. So as for my lifts, how are they doing? Well, they've been slowly improving as I've been moving on through the training program. Unfortunately, my squats are definitely still my weak point. I actually bench more than I can squat, which is odd and annoying. But I've been doing a bit more training for the quads, a bit more of the glute ham raises. So I'm hoping that with that, I can improve the squat a little bit as well as the deadlift. My deadlift is doing pretty well. I tried 365 and I was able to get 2 done. Didn't feel great and the technique was not good. So I'll probably lower the weight down again and work on technique a bit before I go heavy again. My bench though has really been improving. I was able to do 225 for a set of 6. It didn't feel too hard. It was 8.5, maybe a 9 RPE. Easy. The puppy just came in. I've been trying to do 225 a bit more often to get my body more used to it. Unfortunately, that has led to some pain. The kind of pain that you can't ignore or work through really very easily. I've been pushing a little bit too hard, a little bit too often. The joint pain has been continuing the next day, the day after, and even with an extra couple of days off thrown in there, I'm not really feeling fully recovered. So the only option I have now is the dreaded deload week. So basically for the next few workouts, I'm going to be doing quite a bit lighter weight, a lot more technique on the focus. Technique on the focus? What does that even mean? Try not to lift too heavy and make the injuries worse, but I do want to keep working out so I can hopefully get a little bit more blood into those muscles there, speed up the recovery a little bit. So here's the first workout that I've done so far in this deload week. I'll show you the kind of weights that I'll be working with and kind of the technique that I'm going to be focusing on. So the first exercise is deadlifts. Just sticking to a nice 225 on these sets. I'd already done a warm-up before this, a slightly lower weight. Here I'm trying to focus on keeping the shoulders directly above the bar when I lift. I'm also trying to focus on pulling the slack out of the bar before I go for the lift. On top of that, I'm also trying to work on some of the bracing techniques that I learned from Calgary Barbell. Trying to decide if I'm a top brace or a lower brace. Basically it means when you get ready to brace at the top, or you bend over to pick up the bar, or once you've grabbed onto it and you brace at the bottom. So my second exercise of the day was pause bench. Warming up with 135. For this I wanted to have a really long pause so I could get a really good stretch in the shoulder. Then I moved on to 135. Here I was focusing on trying to get a good position so that my forearms were straight up and down. Because the weight was so light, I was also trying to focus a little bit on the speed coming off of my chest. My top set for the day was 185. I was also trying to figure out just how wide my grip should be so I'd still have the power that I needed, but it wouldn't cause too much stress on the shoulder. The lighter weight and the long pause felt quite a bit better. So my third exercise of the day is squats. Warming up again with 135. Since I'm focusing on technique, I wanted to do a very slow eccentric. Just really control it on the way down, keep the core engaged, and focus on not losing my position on the way down. Moving up to 185. I wanted to focus on getting a good brace at the top. I always hold my breath on the way down until I come back up. And just another angle. I wanted to make sure when I started on my way back up, I didn't bend over too far, do the dreaded squat morning. Put too much stress on the back, so I really wanted to make sure that I was just keeping that position on the way up. So the last exercise of the day is overhead press. I always warm up with just the bar, since my overhead press is quite weak. And moving on to 65. I like the overhead press because it can work on the shoulder strength, but it doesn't put the same stress on my shoulder as the bench press does, especially with the amount of weight that I do on bench versus overhead press. And then finally, overhead press 95. This is usually where I hit the wall. I generally can't do any more than 95. Usually for sets of about 6. Since it feels a lot better on the shoulder, I'm not too worried on this particular exercise about going close to my max. And very red-faced and struggling with this. Definitely one of my weaker lifts. So, for the next little bit, I'll be keeping the weight low and working on my form. I'll also be focusing on bracing and proper breathing techniques. Hopefully in the next couple of days I can get back to the actual program. There isn't a schedule yet for the next time they're doing testing for the 1,000-pound club at work, but I'm really hoping that it's a little ways away so I can get the program done beforehand. Anyways, I'll keep you guys updated. Thanks for checking out the video. Until next time.